Hey, this is a game between Nebbish and Fever, TVP in the Masters League. Nick is, I believe, ranked 6 Masters League lately. Really damn high up there. And TVP, he's been doing the 1-1-1, either with an expo or without an expo, but never with a quick expo, because quick expos just lead to death, my friends. It leads to death. Nick told me a funny story in a TVP. He did a fake expo raid. He took the bunker down here to prevent scouting of the expo. So the Protoss scouted his late him not getting an immediate gas, and then scouted the bunker going down over here, and assumed that Nick was going for a Marine fast expand and took a double nexus. So like quick nexus here kind of thing. And Nick just dumb luck scouted the third nexus with his Hellion, and like it was an easy win from there. Such a silly thing to do from the Protoss's perspective. Anyway, so Nick's gonna deny any scouting with that cute little guy and get an orbital and 1-1-1. It's important not to get your gas too early when you 1-1-1. He's gonna get 4 Marines out of this Rax before he throws down the reactor core. And he's going to lift this and put a bunker here after the second Marine, usually, maybe after the third, depending on whether or not he's got an SCV nearby. It's 4 minutes and 20 seconds is the latest you want to do that, so it looks like after the third Marine this time. And he's going to make the bunker on the low ground to fake his expo instead. That's fine. There's a big risk of doing this, which is that if you put the bunker down here and he comes with a 4-gate, with like all his chrono boost spent on gateways, cutting probes at 19, and comes with like a 5 zealots and 2 stalkers, or 5 zealots, a sentry, and a stalker at 6 minutes and something seconds, this will die. Your SCVs are way too far away to repair it. They're a million miles away. So even if you spot them coming, you pull SCVs to repair, and no dice, you just can't repair that. So lately, though, in TVP, all Protosses are fast expanding, though. So doing the bunker on the low ground is a good way to convince a fast expanding Protoss that you're fast expanding too, which can make him much more susceptible to dying, to losing a lot of workers to this Hellion and stuff like that. So it did what it wanted to do. It forced the Protoss's first stalker not to be back home on defense. But look how early this warp-in is. This is crazy early warp-in. Protoss must have cut a lot of probes to get a warp-in that early. And he's losing a lot of probes here, too. So he lost 4 probes. He took damage on a lot of probes. He completely stopped mining with a probe. At 6 minutes and 30 seconds, the Protoss wants to have, I believe, about 30 workers, and he has 20. So this is going great for Nick. Nick salvaged the bunker as soon as he saw the expo, the early expo like that. So yeah, crazy early warp gate tech, man. He must have spent so many chrono boosts on that thing. He must be afraid of like 2 Rex pressure or something. Or oh no, this is why he did it. He wants to do early pressure of his own, but it's not gonna work. I mean, what is he thinking? Oh, it is gonna work. Oh my god, oh my god. Nick doesn't have a bunker on the high ground. Nick didn't even have the bunker on the low ground. This is this has happened so many times. I'm like, Nick, why are you salvaging that bunker? And he's like, well, when I see an expo from Protoss, I salvage the bunker because he's never going to do any harass, and if he does, it's going to be so weak that it's not going to matter. And I'm like, well, but what if he does a quick expo and a quick warp in? And Nick's like, I'm afraid of that, but it's never happened, so I'm just going to assume it's not coming. And that's so funny. This is the first time I've seen it, like where a Protoss super fast expands, but also massively chrono boosts out warp gate tech, and then does this early pressure. That's really great. Good job, Mr. Protoss. You made up for your complete lack of workers. Look at this, 21 workers at 8 minutes. He did exactly what Nick said never happens. This is so hilarious. Super fast. I think 3 warp gate push off of also a fast nexus. And this is one of those middle of the road builds. It's so stupid if Nick just has a bunker, because he's cutting so many workers in order to do this early pressure, and it's ridiculously easy for Nick to hold off if he just has a bunker. But he just got lucky with it and was able to put on some scary 3-Rex pressure with a quick expo. But the expo almost doesn't matter because it's 28 workers to 25. So Nick's, I don't know what Nick's thinking with this bunker. Does that even reach the ramp? I don't know. I can't bring up the build grid when I'm watching replays. That's something I wish I could do, is just bring up the build grid. So Nick's getting nigh on towards the point when he's going to want to push out, and he's got a really strong army. I feel like as soon as Nick pulls workers and pushes out, this game's just going to be an easy win for Nick. Because the longer you go with a teeny tiny worker count like this, the smaller your army eventually gets as Protoss. 26 workers, teeny tiny army. So yeah, he's spent a lot of money on the early Nexus, but it didn't turn into additional income, so it didn't turn into troops. So at 10 minutes, a Protoss is going to want 4,000 army, and he's only got 2775. So very tiny army from Mr. Protoss Man. Nick's going to throw down the Expo, pull workers, and go. This comes from him just kind of messing up his macro. He's got all these minerals he can't spend anywhere else, so he's going to throw down the Expo. But a lot of times what I like to do when my money accidentally get high is instead of throwing down the Expo, just pull extra workers and then slowly eat into that stockpile of minerals by with your reinforcements and try to win during the time when your stockpile still lasts. Because when you throw down the Expo like this, it's your left behind income 460 over 2240. With 4 buildings like this, you can afford to spend a $1,250 income, and you don't have anywhere near that. So without a stockpile to eat into, this factory and the starport and these racks are just going to end up being idle pretty soon. But to each his own, they're both basically the same, and all of the little things hardly matter compared to the big thing, which is that this push is unstoppable and he's going to kick the Protoss's ass easily. So for all the Protoss out there, don't do what this guy did. It's funny that it worked a little bit, and I was excited to see it, but it's not a really valid strategy, because the whole point of a fast expand against a one-basing Terran is to get a really quick 35 workers, and then from there cut workers and go massive army. And then by the time the Terran hits you with his big one-base push, you'll have a big, huge army. But look at the army spending from the Protoss. It's like 12 minutes in, he should have about almost $6,000, and he has 3,600. So he complains that Nick's build is gay or whatever, but it was his own build that sucked. It wasn't so much that Nick did anything special. And that is that, man. Good job. I'm very I don't know. I'm very. That's the end of my sentence. I'm very. I keep trying to Alt-Tab and turn off Taxi, but I forget I'm using Fraps.